This is an overview of glucose transporters. We can see an example of a glucose transporter here in the cell membrane. This white part back here is the extracellular space, and this pink part in here is the intracellular space. We can see this phospholipid bilayer dividing the intracellular and the extracellular space, and we can see these channels kind of connecting the inside and outside space and allowing the passage of glucose, these blue hexagons, to pass through the membrane. These happen to be the GLUT4 transporters, which, as we'll see on a table, are the only ones that are insulin dependent. So you could see the pathway that starts with insulin that allows for the production of these transporters. And once these transporters are inserted into the membrane, they allow for glucose to enter the cell. These GLUT4 transporters are primarily found in striated muscle, like skeletal muscle or cardiac muscle. In general, this is the pathway that we have, starting with elevated serum glucose levels. Elevated serum glucose levels causes insulin to be secreted from the pancreatic beta cells in the islets of Langerhans. The insulin then binds to insulin receptors, as shown here, and that mobilizes the GLUT receptors to the cell membrane, as shown here. Once the GLUT receptors are in the cell membrane, glucose can be absorbed into tissues, and this then lowers the serum glucose levels. So you can see how that's kind of a feedback loop. Elevated serum glucose levels led to lowered serum glucose levels through this pathway. So negative feedback from a high glucose level to a low glucose level. Here are the different types of glucose transporters. The type is listed in the leftmost column here, from GLUT1 to GLUT4. We talk about the location of those transporters, as well as any specific unique features for those transporters. The first on the list is GLUT1. This is found in most cells, including the cornea, the central nervous system, red blood cells, the placenta, and in fetal tissues. This one specifically has a high affinity for glucose. GLUT2 is found in hepatocytes, kidneys, pancreatic beta cells, and small intestine. This one specifically has a bidirectional feature, so it can allow glucose to go in and out of the cell. It also has a high capacity, but it has a low affinity for glucose. GLUT3 is also found in most cells, specifically the CNS and the placenta, also has a high affinity for glucose. GLUT4 is the one we saw in the background image. It's found in striated muscle, like cardiac muscle and skeletal muscle, as we said, also found in fat cells or adipocytes. This one is the only insulin-dependent glucose transporter, as we saw in the background image, and insulin stimulates the incorporation into the membrane, as we saw. Lastly, GLUT5 is found in kidneys, small intestines, and spermatocytes, and this one specifically is a fructose transporter. I hope this review was helpful, and thank you for listening.